Hi, Ariella. Hello, I miss you. I got a new book to read to you. It's called Dumbo. Just like the little Dumbo I bought for you when I was in California. It's a Walt Disney book. So there's Dumbo. Look at with his big ears. Oh no, look at Dumbo right there. He's sneezing and his ears went way out. How funny is that? And look at, there's a train. That's Oma's favorite. It was spring in the circus. After the long winter's rest, it was time to set out again on the open road. Toot toot, whistled Casey Jones, the locomotive of the circus train. Look at toot toot, and there goes the puff of smoke. It's a steam engine. All aboard, shouted the ringmaster. The acrobats, the jugglers, the tumblers, the snake charmers scrambled to their places on the train. The keepers locked the animal cages. Then, with a jiggity jerk and a brisk puff puff, off sped Casey Jones. The circus was on its way. Everyone was singing and everybody was happy. Happiest of all was Mrs. Jumbo, for in her stall was a chubby, brand new baby elephant. Look at Mama elephant, baby elephant. Though other animals called the baby Dumbo, his mother loved him dearly, even though his ears were really big. All night, while the baby animal slept, Casey Jones whistled and puffed, hauling the long train to the city where the circus was to open its show. Get the trains going across the bridge, the river. There's Dumbo, and the mama's name, I think, is Jumbo. Jumbo the mama, Dumbo the baby. It was dark when he pulled into the station. Rain poured down hard, but the circus began to unload. The roustabouts jumped down from the freight cars. They lighted torches and stuck them in the ground. Men and animals came bustling out of the train into the windy, wet night. Mrs. Jumbo worked with the other elephants, and her baby helped a little bit too. They're going to set up the circus. Look at all the animals. By the morning, the rain had stopped. The tent was all set up, and the circus was getting ready for the big parade. The band played, and everybody fell in line. Then off pranced the gay procession down the main street. There was creamy white horses, licorice-colored seals. There were lady acrobats in pink tight suits, lions pacing in their gilded wagon trains, elephants marching with slow, even steps. The crowds on the sidewalk cheered, and then suddenly their eyes opened wide. They craned their necks. Look, look, they cried. Look at the silly animal with the draggy ears. He can't be an elephant. He must be a clown. They're making fun of poor Dumbo because his ears are big. Sadly, Dumbo toddled behind his mother with his trunk clasped to her tail. He tried to hurry along faster so he wouldn't hear the laughter, but he stumbled. He tripped over his ears. Down he splashed into a puddle of mud. Now the crowds laughed even louder. Mrs. Jumbo scowled at them. She picked Dumbo up and carried him in her trunk the whole rest of the way. When the parade finished finally and came back to the tent, everyone hustled to get ready for the afternoon show. Mrs. Jumbo put Dumbo in the wooden bathtub, and she scrubbed, and she whispered comforting words to Dumbo. Oh no, look at Dumbo. He's all dressed like a baby. A gang of noisy boys came pushing in first for the afternoon show. We want to see the elephant, they yelled. The one with the sailboat ears. Look, there he is. A baby grabbed one of Dumbo's ears and pulled it hard. Then he made an ugly face and stuck out his tongue. Well, that wasn't nice. Mrs. Jumbo couldn't stand it. She snatched the boy up with her trunk and spanked him hard. "Help!" he cried. "Help! Help me! Help!" "What's going on here?" cried the ringmaster, rushing forward. "Tie her down!" he yelled. Soon she was behind the bars in the prison wagon with a big sign that said, "Danger, mad elephant, keep out." The next day they made Dumbo into a clown. They painted his face with a foolish grin and dressed him in a baby dress. On his head they put a bonnet. They used him in the most ridiculous act in the show, a make-believe fire. Every night he had to jump from the top of a blazing cardboard house down into a fireman's net. The audience thought it was a great joke, but Dumbo felt disgraced. Dumbo wasn't having any fun. "He's a disgrace to us," the big animals agreed, and they turned their backs on him. Poor Dumbo, they made him jump. Hidden in a pile of hay was Timothy Mouse. Look at the little mouse. He was the smallest animal with the circus. "They can't treat the little fellow that way," he muttered, "not while Timothy Mouse is around." "Hey there, little fella," he called to Dumbo. "Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. I'm your friend. I want to help you." Timothy ran up towards Dumbo's ears. "We'll get your mother out of jail, you and I together, and we'll make you the star of the show. You'll be flying high." "Say," he went on, staring at Dumbo's ears, "those ears are as good as wings. I'll teach you to fly." Quietly, Dumbo crept out of the tent with Timothy, and soon they came to the prison car on a siding. Dumbo told his mother all about the clown act and how unhappy he was without her, and about the wonderful idea Timothy had for making him a success. He was telling his mommy the story. Mother Jumbo listened sympathetically, stroking him gently with her trunk. "Don't you worry, baby," she told him. "You're having a hard time now, and I'm sorry I can't be with you to help. But just remember, always do your best. And as Timothy Mouse says, you'll soon be flying high." Then sadly they said goodnight, and Timothy and Dumbo continued on their way. Out of the bare fields into the starlight they went to work. With Timothy as teacher, Dumbo practiced running and jumping and hopping. Look at Dumbo up in the tree. He stretched out his wings and flapped them 1, 2, 3, 4. But hard as he tried, Jumbo could not leave the ground. He was trying to fly. At last, almost too tired to stand, the two friends gave up and started gloomingly back towards the sleeping circus. "Don't worry, Dumbo," Timothy whispered as he curled on Dumbo's hat brim for a good night's sleep. "We'll have you flying yet." The mouse was going to teach Dumbo how to fly. So Dumbo fell asleep with a tired smile on his face and a beautiful dream in his heart. In the dream, he was flying as easily and gracefully as a bird, soaring through the air, high above the circus. It was a wonderful dream, and it seemed very real to Dumbo. When the morning sun rose, Timothy was the first to awaken. He blinked and he looked up. Why, Timothy said, rubbing his eyes. "Where am I?" He was still on the brim of Dumbo's hat, and the hat was still on Dumbo's head, but Dumbo was asleep on the branch in the tree, far above the ground. He got up there. But how did we get here?" Timothy stammered. "Look at, they're way up in the tree. House down here, they're way up there." Slowly, Dumbo opened his eyes. He glanced down and he gulped. Then he struggled to his feet, but suddenly he slipped on the smooth tree bark and fell down, down, down. He bounced from branch to branch with Timothy clinging to his trunk. Plunk! They landed in a shallow pond just underneath the tree. He fell out of the tree. He's okay, though. Timothy scrambled up to the edge of the water and wrung out Dumbo's tail. Look at, he's making all the water come out of his tail. "Dumbo," he panted, "you can fly. If you can fly when you're asleep, then you can fly when you're awake. Your ears, Dumbo, they're your fortune. He grabbed one of Dumbo's sweet, wet ears and patted it. Look at Dumbo, he's on the cliff. You won't be a clown anymore. You'll be famous, the only flying elephant in the whole wide world. And Timothy and Dumbo began all over again to practice flying. But it wasn't easy. Time after time, Dumbo tried to take off. Time after time, he sprawled out flat on his face. Dumbo needed some help. Timothy gave him a black feather. He said as long as Dumbo held the magic feather, he'd be able to fly. Look at the feather. There's the feather. He's holding it in his trunk. The trick worked like a charm. The very instant that Dumbo wrapped the tip of his trunk around the feather, flap, flap, flap went his ears. Up into the air he soared like a bird. Over the tallest treetops he sailed. He glided, he dipped, he dived. 3 times he circled the sky. And he headed back to the ground. Look at him flying. He's in the air and he's flying. He's flapping his ears and he's flying way up high. Hot diggity, Timothy cheered. You're flying. You're really flying. He couldn't wait until the next circus performance. Then Dumbo could show everyone what he could do. For now, though, they'd keep it a secret. Shh, don't tell. It's a secret. They're not going to tell anybody that Dumbo can fly. No one noticed Dumbo when he and Timothy came quietly back. It was already time for Dumbo to get into his costume. Inside the walls of the cardboard house, he had to wait all through the show until fire crackled up around him. At last, Timothy leaned out and handed him the feather. In just a second, Dumbo, he whispered very softly, you'll be the most famous elephant in the world. Crack, 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 crackled the fire. The clown act was on. Flames shot up around the cardboard house. Clang, clang, roared the clown fire engine, rushing towards the blaze. From the far end of the ring, a red-headed mother clown came running. Save my baby, she screamed. He's on the top floor. See, Dumbo's way up high here, dressed like a baby. The fireman brought a big net and held it out. Jump, my darling baby, jump, shrieked the mother clown. Dumbo jumped, but as he jumped, the black feather slipped from his trunk and floated away. Oh no, the magic feather was gone, and Dumbo plunged like a stone. You can fly, Timothy shouted frantically. The feather's fake. You can fly. Look at, there's Dumbo and little Timothy mouths on his nose. Dumbo heard the shout and doubtfully spread his ears wide. Not 2 feet above the net, he stopped his plunge and swooped into the air. A mighty gasp arose from the audience. They knew it couldn't be, but it was. Dumbo was flying. While the crowd whirred its delight, Dumbo did power dives, loops, and spins and barrel rolls. He swooped down to pick up peanuts and squirted a trunk full of water on the clown. Oh my gosh. The keepers freed Mrs. Jumbo and brought her to the tent in triumph to see her baby fly. So all of Dumbo's worries had come to an end. By evening, Dumbo was a hero from coast to coast. Timothy became Dumbo's manager, and he saw to it that Dumbo got a wonderful contract with a big salary and a pension for his mother. He signed on the dotted line. Look at now they're in the train. The circus got a new name, Dumbo's Flying Circus. And Dumbo traveled in a special streamlined car. But best of all, he forgave everyone who had been unkind to him, for his heart was as big as his magical ears. Dumbo's all happy now. He has a special place on the train with his mama, and he can fly. Pretty fun, huh? Well, I hope you liked that. It was kind of a long story for you, huh? But Anyway, ciao, Ariella.